Today we examine one of the most controversial wrongful convictions in recent memory, the case of Anthony Broadwater. For nearly 4 decades, Broadwater lived with the label of a violent criminal, falsely accused of a crime he never committed. His case is a tragic example of how systemic flaws and unreliable methods led to a life-altering mistake. This isn't just a story about one man's lost years. It's a story about the failures and injustices that can occur in the legal system. Anthony Broadwater was convicted in 1982 of raping Alice Sebold, a college student who later became a best-selling author of The Lovely Bones. The conviction was based largely on eyewitness testimony and controversial forensic techniques. Broadwater maintained his innocence from day one, but despite his claims, he was sentenced to 16 years in prison. He would spend those years fighting a system that seemed stacked against him. But what went wrong in Broadwater's case? It all started with a single moment, a lineup, in which Sebold misidentified Broadwater as her attacker. After initially picking someone else, she later identified Broadwater in court. The eyewitness misidentification was compounded by questionable forensic evidence, including the now discredited practice of microscopic hair analysis. At the time, this analysis was considered conclusive. But we now know that it was far from reliable. Years passed, and Broadwater's life after his release remained haunted by his wrongful conviction. He faced social isolation, loss of job opportunities, and a stigma he couldn't escape. Many wrongful conviction cases rely on DNA evidence to overturn convictions. But in Broadwater's case, there was no DNA left to test. For decades, he was left with few legal options. Broadwater's breakthrough came from an unexpected place: the movie industry. When efforts began to adapt Alice Sebold's memoir, Lucky, into a movie, the story took on new life. Timothy Mucciante, a producer involved in the project, became deeply suspicious of the details of the case. He realized something didn't add up. Why were there inconsistencies in Sebold's story? Why had so many red flags been ignored? Mucciante's concerns led him to withdraw from the project and begin his own investigation. Mucciante's curiosity led him to attorney David Hammond, who agreed to take Broadwater's case pro bono. Together, they uncovered significant flaws in the prosecution's methods and found that the conviction was based on evidence that would never hold up in today's courtrooms. With this new legal support, Broadwater finally had a chance to clear his name. In 2021, after a review of his case by the Onondaga County District Attorney's Office, Broadwater's conviction was overturned. The decision acknowledged not only the lack of solid evidence, but also the systemic bias that contributed to his wrongful conviction. After 40 years of living with the burden of a crime he did not commit, Broadwater was finally exonerated. The news of Broadwater's exoneration raised painful questions about the justice system. How could this happen? What checks are in place to prevent similar injustices? And how many more Anthony Broadwaters are out there fighting to prove their innocence? Broadwater's case underscores the need for reform, especially in how eyewitness testimony is handled and how outdated forensic techniques are used in courtrooms. Broadwater's exoneration also sparked debates about accountability. When wrongful convictions occur, who takes responsibility? Can justice truly be served by simply acknowledging a mistake? Or does true justice require more? These are questions the legal community continues to grapple with, especially as the use of forensic science evolves. For Anthony Broadwater, the exoneration was both a relief and a bittersweet victory. His life was irrevocably changed by his wrongful conviction. Many supporters believe his story should serve as a catalyst for legal changes to prevent similar cases. Broadwater has expressed his hope that his case can inspire reforms to ensure that others don't face the same ordeal. Since his exoneration, Broadwater has been working to rebuild his life, a life that was stolen from him in many ways. While he remains hopeful, the scars left by his wrongful conviction are undeniable. His story highlights not only the flaws in the legal system, but also the resilience of the wrongfully accused. It's a reminder that behind every wrongful conviction statistic, there's a real person enduring unimaginable hardship. Injustice can be righted, but the scars often remain. Anthony Broadwater's case is a stark reminder of the work that still needs to be done to make our justice system fairer, more reliable, and more humane. His exoneration is a victory, but it is also a call to action. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the wrongful conviction of Anthony Broadwater. If stories like these resonate with you, don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned as we explore more cases where justice has been challenged, tested, and hopefully corrected.